beautiful human beings. I am, shall we say, back? Maybe? I don't really know. I decided I wanted to sit down and film this video because honestly, YouTube has been on my mind lately, and it's been quite a few years since I picked up the camera to even try and record. And I don't know why that is, other than life, baby. I mean, life's been happening and things are really good, and things haven't been so good. So I just kind of took a break from a lot of online, to be honest, and I figured we could start off YouTube again with a little Q&A. So I had people ask me questions on my Instagram called M's Cozy Corner, and I'm going to answer a few of those today so that we can get a little bit caught up and just see where I've been at. Love to hear from you in the comments below. Without further ado, I'm gonna have a little bit of coffee and then we will get started. Ah, beautiful. This cup was made by a local potter and she does amazing work. I'll link her down below. But let us get started with probably the question that I got asked the most, and that is, how is married life? So, obviously, this is not on the radar of YouTube because I got engaged after the fact of me being off YouTube. I got engaged in October 2023? 24? I'm so bad. Either way, the whole point of this is that it took us a little while to get the planning going, but that's what I and we initially wanted, was to have a nice long engagement and make the wedding well worth it. So actually in a couple of weeks we are coming into our 5-year anniversary of being together, but we have been married now for about 7 months. So we got married in September and it was the most magical weekend of my entire life. We had an outdoor ceremony, we had about 40 of our closest friends and family there, and we did do it here in New Brunswick, even though I would say half of the people who came were actually from Ontario, but we knew we just really wanted to have it here. And I loved our venue. Honestly, I'll share it because we've already had the wedding. So we got married at Dominion Hill Country Inn in St. Andrews, New Brunswick. And if you've never been to St. Andrews, I highly recommend. It is so beautiful. But that's where we got married. I'll put a little clip here of the venue and just give them a little shout out because truly, things could not have gone better. I mean, everything always has like little hiccups, but overall, like, they did such a great job with the small team they had, and the food was divine. Not that they could control this, but the weather that weekend was so perfect. And yeah, felt good, had some delicious food, good company. I really can't say much else other than, Nick and I had the perfect wedding and we could not be more happy with it. The question really was, how's married life? And so far so good. It's been 7 months, can't complain. When you've been with someone for like a good amount of time, honestly, like, the aftermath of getting married doesn't really feel much different than when you were together already. The amount of love that we have for each other has always been strong, so it's just been great, and it always was. So yeah, I truly felt like myself in my dress. I felt like myself, but also like a princess at the same time. And yeah, I just love everyone who came. It truly was like the most special experience I could have ever had. Well worth the money. So yeah, everything's great. The next question that I really wanted to get to was, how has my break from social media and YouTube been, and like, has it taught me anything? And I wouldn't necessarily say when I left YouTube I was trying to learn something from that, so I don't know if being off YouTube has taught me anything, but with social media, absolutely. I have not been as present on social media for the past, like, I think 5 months or so, and I hate to sound so dramatic, but like, it has been life-changing. It truly feels so good to not be scrolling on my phone for like 5 hours a day. I think my average phone, like, screen time now a day is around 2 hours, which is still, I would say, high, but like, considering before it was upwards of 5 to 6 hours a day, I am so happy with that, more than fine with it, and I'm human, I still scroll once in a while, but I have deleted TikTok. I no longer scroll on there. I do have my Instagrams, as I mentioned, but I honestly delete the app most of the time and just go on it when I need to. And I just feel like it's given me the opportunity to like dive into new hobbies and old hobbies, honestly, like reading. I've been able to get so much more reading in, and that's like my biggest passion, right? So I just feel really good about that. And it just makes me feel like a more present person with the people I'm around. So I would say it's definitely taught me a lot in the fact that I think it's just made me a better, more present person. And I do not plan on going backwards and being on social media that much anymore. I just don't think it's good for anybody, to be honest. Like, there are some really cool, interesting things on the internet, but for the most part, like, there's really cool and interesting things out in the real world too. So I think I would rather just do that. I think that's what it's taught me. We'll add in a little quick fun question here. Someone asked how our kitties are doing. And fun fact, since leaving YouTube, we did in fact get a fifth cat. So we have 5 cats now. And I mean, I wouldn't change a thing, obviously. But they're a little bit of a handful. They all have their own personalities. Introducing Mabel to our household was very fun. I will post a little picture of her here. She is beautiful. She is wild. She is quirky. And she fits right in, honestly. So, yeah, we now have 4 girls and 1 boy. And they're all doing really well. Our oldest, Smiley, is getting older. But she's still kicking. And we're just like soaking up all the time we can, you know? Cats are good and they all get along, and yeah. Also, fun fact, yesterday it was Fiona's 8th birthday. So, happy birthday to Fiona. Okay, next question we have is actually a really fun one, and I think it's one that I'm going to talk a little bit about my current hobbies too. But someone asked what hobbies I want to pick up in 2026, and honestly, over the past year, like coming into 2026, I have started journaling in a lot of different ways. So, on top of having like a diary, I've also started book journaling, doing book reviews, and junk journaling, which is like scrapbooking kind of. So all of those forms of journaling have been major passions for me and allow me to like express myself creatively. And then other ones that I've had for a while, honestly, coloring, I've been really into that lately, and playing The Sims still. So I've always played The Sims. I've played that game since I was like, I don't even know, like 8. Those are all the hobbies that I have had for a while. And a really big one that I want to try and take up this year, hopefully soon, I've been like just nervous to start, is watercolor. So I want to try and start watercolor painting. I just have a vision of like me sitting on the beach practicing watercolor. I don't know why. That's just been all over my Pinterest and stuff too. So with the warm weather, I'm hoping to pick up painting, and honestly, I think that's enough. Like, I don't need too many hobbies, you know what I mean? And also, this is a given. Reading, of course, but that's been around for a while too. So yeah, those are all the hobbies I have and plan to pick up in 2026. Alright, you guys, we got a couple more questions here. One of the questions, I kind of have like a major one and then a sub question that goes with it. So someone asked me what advice I would have to anyone who wants to start a small business. And the last time I was on here, I was running a small but mighty business, and I still am, but I'm doing it in a much different way now. I'm kind of going back to like just being more present and like doing things that bring me joy. I found that it was a little bit challenging and draining for me to run the business the way I was. So I've definitely taken a step back from that, but I wouldn't say I regret the way I did the business at all. I think my biggest advice for anyone who wants to start a small business is to really sit with yourself and ask yourself why you want to do that. And I would also ask yourself, is this a passion or hobby that I feel is sustainable as a business, or am I just passionate in the hobby itself and maybe it's not so sustainable? Just because I find it's really hard to mix pleasure with work, and I feel as though I succeeded in that. Like, I do genuinely love my passion of reading and also love selling books to people and like handmade goods that have to do with books. I think when I answer that question myself, it is possible, But I always just feel like that's important to start with, is to really sit with yourself and ask yourself why. Another big piece of advice I would give is just to not put so much pressure on yourself. Have fun with it and try to continuously have fun with it, because if you just try and grow and grow and grow and it becomes less fun, it's not sustainable anymore. So yeah. Oh, and one more thing I would say is, if you do want to grow your business, but you still want it to be fun, ask for help. Definitely ask for help. Hopefully you have friends who are willing to help you, or if you can hire someone like really, really part-time just to do a couple things to help you out, I would definitely recommend that as well. But yeah, for just starting a business, I just would definitely sit with yourself, reflect on the options you have, and realize that it is a bigger commitment than you maybe realize in the beginning. There's so much to it. So do your research, ask yourself why, what's the purpose, and just make sure you're constantly enjoying it. Have check-ins with yourself to make sure that you're not getting too stressed out. Like, you don't want it to not be fun anymore. You know what I mean? So that's my advice on that. And then just a little question someone asked me was if I'm shipping to the US right now in my business, and the answer unfortunately is no. With everything going on, it's just not worth it for me right now. But also, to be honest, I don't have a lot of US customers to begin with, so I don't really have that option. All right, I'm gonna get readjusted here a little bit, because the last question that I had was, what are some of my most recent favorite books? So I thought it'd be really fun to end off this video sharing what those are with you. I thought of 3 since the beginning of the year to share, so I'm gonna go in order of when I read them. The first one that honestly I still can't get out of my head, I'm definitely gonna come back to this book like once a year because it just changed something in me. Truly, I believe that, and that is Tuesdays with Morrie. This book is all over the internet, and it's for a good reason. This book is, well, it says it on the cover, but it's about an old man named Morrie and then a young man who is Mitch, and they just meet every single Tuesday and talk about life lessons while Morrie is dying of an incurable disease. So it really gives your life perspective, and the way he thinks about things even while he's dying is just so beautiful. And like I said, I genuinely believe this book changed my life. So as you can see, I did annotate it quite a bit, and I would highly recommend you pick this up. It's a super quick read, but it's just real, you know? And sometimes I just need like a real book. So yeah, Tuesdays with Morrie was so, so good. And then the next book that I picked up that I was honestly shocked that I liked so much, and it's all over the internet right now too, is Project Hail Mary. I am not a sci-fi girl whatsoever, but look at me now. I read this, adored it, I watched the movie, it was fantastic. If you like humor, sci-fi, aliens, if you like, it says here, Project Hail Mary is a tale of discovery, speculation, and survival to rival The Martian, which was also written by Andy Weir, while taking us to places it never dreamed of going. So basically, the sun is dying, which in turn is going to cause the Earth to die and all of its beings on it. So there's just a bunch of scientists in this book who are trying to figure out why the sun is dying, or why it's like not staying warm. So they go up into space and they try and solve that problem, and from there just chaos ensues, and it's beautiful. Honestly, this book is so funny, but has a lot of lessons about like just the importance of human beings sticking together when things are really important. Like, we need to stick together on issues, and I think more now than ever that's like really needed to be read. Even though this is sci-fi and it's not necessarily real, I think in real life issues going on right now, you could learn something from this book. Alright, and the last book is probably the most unique book I've ever read in my entire life, and it's probably, I don't know, this is probably a new favorite author for me, but that is The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. And I've been wanting to pick up one of these books. My coworker actually recommended me this book, and I'm so glad that I read it, because holy cow, this is stunning. You're following June Farrow, and basically the women in her family through generations have this curse. They basically just go crazy over time, and that's what kills them in the end. But she starts hallucinating this red door and decides to walk through it. And then from there you got a little bit of time travel, you a little bit of love and just what you're willing to do for the people you love. I don't want to say all that much, but basically, throughout this book, the reason I loved it so much was it's confusing, and the way you feel so confused is exactly how June Farrow feels throughout her life. So I just loved that. I loved how unique it was. But yeah, those were the three books that I, so far this year, have really been enjoying. I've read about 15 books so far this year, and those are the ones that stuck out to me. Alright, friends, I am going to end off this video here. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a big thumbs up if you are willing to stick around with me while I go back onto this YouTube journey. I am going to mention that before I definitely did a lot more vlog style videos. I think I'm going to be sticking to mostly sit down videos in the future because like I said, I just really miss like talking to you guys, and vlogging, like, it takes a lot of brain power to remember to pick up your camera every day when you're going out and stuff, when I just want to, as I said before, be present. So yeah, this is me being present with you. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for being here, and I will be coming out with a book video very, very soon. Bye!